Well, first of all, let me say that I am incredibly proud of my colleagues at the City of Calgary and the work they've done on this incredibly complex file. You know, the federal government made the decision to legalize cannabis, but really left it to the provinces and especially to the municipalities to deal with it. And it's been incredible hard work for civil servants across the city, and they've done a great job. Matt Zablosky and his team have really done a tremendous job, and things went as smooth, I think, as they possibly could yesterday, so I'm very proud of that. I'm less proud of the provincial government and their point of view on cannabis revenue sharing. You know, the amount that they're offering up, remember that all the tax goes to them. There's an excise tax, there's a sales tax on top of the excise tax. Alberta actually has a sales tax, believe it or not, on this item. And yet, none of that money essentially is coming back to the municipalities who are incurring all the costs. So they're pocketing the money and leaving the costs with us. And to announce that 2 days before legalization, a month before we have to pass our budget, that's just not fair ball.
Now, we also saw...
It's not like they were surprised that that was the date of legalization, because if they only figured out on the 15th it was being legalized on the 17th, perhaps they need to read the paper more.
And I know because you spend time on social media, you're aware of all kinds of, conspiracy theories about how a city like Calgary had only 2 places where you could legally buy, other than through the website. That situation is going to change somewhat quickly, isn't it?
Relatively quickly. It should change relatively quickly. What's happened here is that there have been so many appeals launched against these things, some of which by neighbors and by community associations, but what we're really seeing is that some players in the industry have weaponized the appeals process to try and slow down or shut down their competitors. That's no good, but because of our processes, it does take a while to wend all of this stuff through the appeals process. So that should all be sorted over the next few months. And I understand that there are already 9 or 10 licenses that are ready to go that we're just waiting on the Alberta government to give the AGLC final approval, so those should be up and running relatively quickly. I've seen a lot of locations in Calgary that are ready to go. They just have brown paper on the walls and they're just waiting for the last couple of hurdles.
And SDAB is also, aren't they doubling up and making smaller panels so they can hear more appeals?
we made some small changes to the Subdivision Development Approvals Board bylaw just so that we can get through these more quickly. I don't think that any of the people who volunteered to sit on SDAB and deal with people's garages and overlook thought that they would become cannabis czars, but we'll get through these. And then once we're through these, I think that we'll return to a much more normal retail environment.
And also, to close the loop on the cannabis issue, you made some comments in the meeting about just the issue in terms of public consumption. Do you anticipate that at some point Council will revisit this?
I anticipate the Council won't, but certainly we've opened ourselves up to the opportunity to look at it again as we kind of see what usage patterns are, what the needs are, and so on. But as I've said many times, if you live in a condo and you wanted to smoke cannabis on October 16th, you figured out how to do it. And on October 17th, you probably still figured out how to do it.
What about the show yesterday in front of the plaza where everybody lit up type of thing? Is that a case of, my colleagues here mentioned it, the first day, go ahead, but if Buddy shows up today by himself, he's probably going to get tapped on the shoulder, as Scott says.
Yeah, let's be clear. Public consumption of cannabis is illegal. You cannot use it in spaces where there are children. You can't use it in spaces where there are members of the public who do not want to be exposed to that. And yes, indeed, if you use it in public, it is illegal and you run the risk of getting a pretty hefty fine.